Hey guys, it's Gemini. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be another GSL Qualifier cast. This time going to be between two incredible players. A PvT this time, first starting with Classic over on the top right-hand side. And of course, none other than the best Korean Terran player, Maru, in the bottom left. So I'm very curious about how this one is going to be set up here because Maru actually already starting off with a double gas opener here, while Classic going for just a normal opener. We'll be going for a Stargate actually with a slightly hidden pylon. I quite like that positioning there. Unfortunately, it did get scouted, but it does also... Actually, does that block? Because this is a Reaper jump path, but this looks... There's no way that blocks. That looks so far away. It looks light years away from the cliff. There's no way that actually blocks the Reaper, does it? I've not actually checked that spot before. So that's actually kind of strange. But at least it doesn't, Maru doesn't actually get the scout off that it is a Stargate. So that's nice. We'll be able to keep that hidden for now. We'll see if what Classic has in mind with this. Likely going to be Oracles. This would be a strange map to go Phoenix on, in my opinion. Oh my god, okay, I'm wrong. Never mind. Ignore me, I'm an idiot, I'm stupid, nothing I say is right, ever. It's Phoenix, they're the pro players, I'm not. Okay, we'll see how this goes. It's gonna be a Phoenix versus Hellion Reaper opener, because it was a double gas from Maru, and from that he went for a reactored factory into the Hellion Reaper. We'll get on top of the first Hellion, killed off pretty quickly here. The Phoenix will come in and actually lift up the second one, which will be pretty decent here. The Reapers, though, will then get on top of the probes, and a probe pool not quite able to deal with the Reapers just yet, but nice. We'll be able to get all of those killed off. Pretty decent defense overall. Only 2 probes lost. That was actually great for Classic. An excellent opener. The Phoenix proving great worth in this situation. We'll be going for the fast Robo follow-up as well. Likely for the Phoenix Colossus. Oh no! Phoenix getting caught off by a couple of Cyclones that got reactored out, but luckily we'll be able to just walk away. Actually, a Liberator being made as well from this starport. I really would like Classic to try and stick around as long as possible to maybe get a scout off that. Obviously, it's very difficult to actually know when the unit will pop out, but it would be nice to get a nice scout pretty early. Ooh, fast third base coming in from Maru as well. Kind of greedy, honestly. It's actually extremely greedy. Classic was going for something more aggressive with this follow-up. Like if he had proxied a pylon and then just gone for a bunch of gateway units with a couple of Phoenix getting rallied across, it actually would be super brutal against Maru right now. Very unorthodox response though from Classic, so you know, kind of not surprised by Maru to go for something so greedy on the back end here. We'll be getting the Immortal. There's no battery. Oh, never mind. It's over on the left side, so a bit of an awkward positioning for that, but we'll be able to help to defend against this little marine cyclone pressure from Maru. I'm actually not sure why Maru is really sticking around, because that is exactly what I saw happening. 3 lifts right away on those cyclones. Bop, 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 completely destroying all of them. But in the back end, there was a Liberator that forced the probes off the line, but that's about all they did. A singular probe kill. Overall, this is looking very good for Classic. Excellent defense all around. The only problem being that this third base is finished already for Maru, and there was no scout from that whatsoever from Classic. I really would have wished he sent those Phoenixes towards the natural a little bit earlier when he was in the main base instead of just walking directly back home. This is also what I was kind of talking about. If there was some sort of fast third base being set up by Maru, is that you can go for this type of play too with the Phoenix Immortal follow-up. Could be very strong. There's no prism or forward pylon to actually continue warping in with this though, so it's a bit difficult to actually fully break through, but it looks like Classic's gonna try for it anyways. This third base will at least deny some surface area for Classic and make it a little bit awkward to actually get into this little area over here. And if he's not careful, he might actually lose the command center though, so Maru needs to, you know, make sure that that doesn't die, but thankfully it will not. But at this point, we really need to get this third base set up for Classic here. We really need to get everything on the tech side completely transitioned to, as we have the Forge Twilight getting sent up here. I do like the decision of that to go so quickly. We don't need any extra gates or anything right now because we've seen a fast third CC and Cyclones from our opponent. So it's not like Maru is going to be going for some super heavy 2-base all in. That would make it necessary to go for so many gateways. We need to get the tech going. We need to make sure that we have charge going really fast. We need to make sure we're getting our +1, getting our range, and making our army extremely good. Not necessarily big just yet, but just good. We need the army to be good. Actually surprised in general with what Maru is doing with this overall unit setup. Going for so many Cyclones after a Reaper Hellion opener into tanks to help defend, and 2 Ravens with the upgrade and double eBay for 1/1 bio, not mech. This is kind of a wild build. I don't know. This is like so strange to me. A single Marine getting picked up. What is this? The singular Marine. It's actually gonna scout. I was gonna say this is probably so cheeky of Maru to just go for these side scouts on these bases to make sure that Classic isn't pulling a fast one on him. Oh my god, a fast Fleet Beacon and second Stargate. Classic is going full on in the tech. I didn't quite... This is not exactly what I had in mind when we were saying to just completely throttle on the tech, the tech button here, but okay. Classic is just saying, yep, let's go straight into mass carriers as the transition. I guess that does make sense on this map. Earlier I was saying I didn't really feel the Phoenix Colossus too much just because the map in general is kind of small and I felt like it could be kind of easy to be punished. But if you can actually stay alive and sit on these multiple bases, it's actually very good for turtle play because of how close some of these bases are and because of how difficult it actually is to get to these other bases on this side of the map. And so going for fast carriers could be pretty decent if you're in the position to set it up. This is the problem though, where these early pushes will become a bit difficult to defend, but I mean this is getting thrown back pretty well by Classic. This is even getting a tank stuck by some Zealots on the right. This is very well handled by Classic. I don't think he should go any further and does back up wisely. Very nice. Wants to stay on top of this high ground because this high ground will give him such a good position going into anything here. With the carriers coming behind it, it's super strong. Because usually what happens is the tanks get sieged up on the low ground here, and then it can be really difficult to actually get a nice position of a concave on the top of your ramp because the tanks just push them back. But if you are going for mass carrier transition, then you can actually deal with those tanks a bit easier. And it's still a totally fine situation. You can also have this little flank area for Zealots coming on the left side. You even could kill these rocks and go fully around. So yeah, Classic actually still doing very well with this situation. Going for a fast mothership as well is super crazy. I love this fast mothership play. I really want to see some of this. Unfortunately, missing one of the guys in his main gas geyser. That's actually very important, considering we're going for such a gas-heavy style. We really need every single bit of income we can with that. As you can see, he instantly started mining gas from this 4th base here. Something that you don't normally see in a lot of Protoss games. A lot of times they get that fast 4th base and then they're just only mining from minerals with it, or their 3rd bases without gas and they're just like really trying to get maximum mineral income super fast with the fast 4th bases. But totally different style this game is. And so really wants to prioritize that gas, so he really actually needs to look at this one thing. This actually impacts so much. It doesn't seem like one probe would be much of a difference, but when all of... Oh my god, he's got 2 on each! Oh my god, that's actually terrible. Okay, he finally realized one. Oh, this was the one that was building something. Never mind. Okay, so he doesn't actually realize. So again, that's not good. TLDR... It's not good, okay? You want as much gas income as possible. Thank you. Maru's side of things, seeing the fact that it is going to be a fast carrier transition, he is just going to do what Maru does best, and that is sit on his butt and do nothing. There's probably no one better in the game at Terran right now than Maru when it comes to sitting around and turtling and finding his way back in a series that he was originally losing. And to do that, he's going to just make a whole bunch of orbital commands. He's going to get a massive amount of Vikings, getting some ghosts out as well. He's got a few tanks on the ground to be able to defend against some of these zealot run-bys, but this one's actually quite exposed. It's not actually going to do anything. We'll just die. And now it's actually forcing all of Maru's army away, as Classic's army will start to move forward to take advantage of this position. Zealots even getting on top of some of these ghosts might be able to do something, but no, they are still very tanky. Classic not quite pulling the trigger on this third base here. Might have been able to do something, but just wanting to play it safe, doesn't want to overextend for now. Maru continually scanning. Getting all these extra orbitals not only is so good for the mules, but having the constant scans to really know exactly where this army is, and to allow these Vikings to utilize their sick range to hopefully get some one-shots on these carriers. That one is extremely close to dying. This one-tap potential on this Viking count is extremely threatening. We really need to be waiting as Classic to get Storm out. Unless we have Storm, it's going to be very difficult to actually make it so that way this Viking cloud could disappear. As you can see, it's very difficult to get everything on top of this army. There is the cloak. That freaking mothership just got obliterated out of the sky. Oh my god, that was insane. I thought there was a bug that just made it completely disappear. Everything is going... I don't even know what's happening in this fight. This is a totally ridiculous situation because everything on the ground is dying, and the Vikings weren't actually attacking the carriers for so long, but finally start to get on top of everything and will be able to kill everything off. Classic with an overextension, killing off a lot of the units on the ground, killing off the Ravens, but there's just so many Vikings that even if we kill more than half of them, it's still more than enough to deal with the carrier count. And now Classic, without any of the Templar back at home gathering energy, doesn't actually have any fallback storms to go and save him now. If Maru decides to just walk across the map, he's got to wait for all the time to get the energy back. The carriers are still getting chronoed out. Colossi coming out as well, which is quite interesting considering the fact that we already have Vikings. I would absolutely love disruptors here. I actually would love disruptors here. We only have... Do we only have one robo? Yes, okay. That's unfortunate. I feel like we should have two. Anyways, EMP is going off on top of the entire army. Luckily, the Templar are still far away. Not getting smacked in the face by any EMPs from them yet. Liberators getting sieged up on the forward position as well. This is going to be super difficult for Classic to actually deal with. He's got a lot of army supply, but a lot of it is in the probe count. He's got more probes than his opponent, and so his army still quite small comparatively to Maru. And now with these Liberators getting on top of this little position here on the ramp. Oh my god, this is so difficult. Blinking forward. Oh. That is a risky situation right there. The Templar in the prism trying to get some little flank storms going off, but Maru, fully aware of that, denies it from happening. Barely anything getting killed with those storms. Zero value being done. This Classic just trying to walk right in. That storm is absolutely massive, but there's nothing else beneath it. Time Warp getting thrown down to slow his inevitable death, as Maru is just continually scanning on top of this mothership. The mothership being completely dead weight right here. Once you get into this position as a Terran player, you just have constant scans with all those orbitals, and that's going to be a GG. Maru taking this game in a pretty surprising, just, I don't know, the way that this game even went was just so strange. The opener was super weird. The follow-up from Maru was super weird. The fact that Classic actually kind of almost won with his weird carrier stuff. Totally weird game. We'll see what happens in game 2. All right, here we are in game number 2. Being played on Site Delta here. Maru taking the first game in a solid fashion. And this game is going to be opening pretty similarly, actually, as Classic on the top right, Maru down here, going for yet another double gas opener for the Fast Factory. This has become very popular lately in PvT. I know, especially I have a lot of hard times dealing with this type of build on the ladders, so this is also still something that can be difficult for some of the pros as well if it's done correctly. There's just so many different things that the Terran player can go for that it becomes difficult to know exactly what is getting thrown your way as a Protoss player. So Classic over here will be just going for the Chrono Adepts into a Stargate yet again. Where is this Stargate? Oh, it's just hidden in plain sight. It's straight in the freaking middle of the natural. I hit back button instead of vision. I apologize. But even though it's right smack dab in the freaking front of the natural, somehow Maru doesn't actually get the scout off. And so I'm amazed, actually. Look at the vision radius of where this frickin' Reaper was. That's absolutely insane. Still doesn't see anything from the high ground down over to the low ground either, and we'll just run back home for now with the Reaper, as the double Adept getting sent across the map, actually, with 0 bunker back at home for Maru is actually a little bit risky here. This double Adept could do a decent bit, but of course the Cyclone. Of course, there's a Cyclone, and oh no, Classic gets absolutely jebaited. Did not see the Cyclone with the Adept Shade vision range. Oh, I actually tried to repair that SCV with the Adept there. That was kind of cute. Unfortunately for Classic, losing those double Adepts for not much value, the Reaper also then comes over and sees the Stargate yet again with the Phoenix production. Reaper even getting one little kill on its way out. Much better opener this game for Maru compared to last. 2 Adepts, 2 Probes for just a Reaper, an SCV, and 2 Marines. Very well done for Maru. Same exact style for Classic coming out yet again. It's going to be the Phoenix Colossus. We'll see if he goes straight into that fast carrier play again, or if he's going to stick to something a little bit more mid-game centric, because I don't quite know if he's going to be able to do the same thing on this map, because I feel like this map surely is not really... It's just not as good for that type of style. But before we even get there, we already have a Marine Cyclone, even a Widowmine push coming over here to the right side of the map. This Phoenix getting locked on, but will be able to get to the safety of the battery. But now this little cliff area is going to be very awkward to dislodge. But Classic going to try to go straight for it anyways. This one Widowmine actually really being a big nuisance to zone away a lot of these units here. It's going to make it very difficult for Classic to get on top of everything here. Could always use that mine to try and drag on top of the Marines as well. That's always a possibility if Maru doesn't unburrow it in time. For now, this is actually being delayed pretty decently. There's also an Immortal out, so I feel like this shouldn't actually be able to walk up into this main base, especially considering the fact that we still have Overcharge ready. This one single Widowmine continued to be so annoying. Maru, though, so good. Does not let it get triggered by a single probe, but then actually will still lose it to the Phoenixes. Unfortunately, Classic losing his Phoenix for it. Not quite sure if that's actually the best situation there for him. I don't like that he's really pushing forward with this army either. I don't think he needs to be doing this engagement. This is completely unnecessary. Running away from his shield battery back at home and the reinforcing warpin situation and the high ground. I think that was a massive overstep by Classic right there. Really no situation or like needed him to actually push that away so hard. Sure, he would love to take a third base, and I think that's part of the pressure that he was feeling when he decided that he wanted to walk out that way, because he might be assuming that Maru's going for the same style back at home as he did in the game 1, which is correct with a fast third CC follow-up. So Classic definitely does feel pressure to try and get this third base set down as quickly as possible. The thing is, though, is that if Maru's going for this fast 3cc follow-up, even if you just sit back at your natural for a little bit to make sure you really have enough units to push the units away, it still allows you to walk back across the map and deny the Terran from being able to just take their third base anyway. So I think it's not the biggest deal if your third isn't put down immediately. So, you know, whatever. It is what it is. And the situation will be quite similar to the last game. Maru just going to be setting up behind the tanks just to make sure that he is safe and does not die, going for the double Raven as well to make it so that way when he goes for his big push, he'll have some interference matrix energy available for the Colossi and whatnot. The double eBay follow-up for the bio as well to make sure that he's not falling behind. Since you go for so many tech units early on as the Terran, you really need to make sure you can ramp back up on the bio production and the bio tech scaling to allow yourself to stay in the mid game. And that double eBay is going to do a really good job of doing that to make sure the bio stays relevant in this mid game. So far, Classic's continuing to just go for it. Phoenix Colossus back at home, getting the charge +1 yet again, just like last game. Again, now the question becomes, does he go for the fast carrier switch that we saw in game 1? Alcyone is a much better map in general for the defensive passive macro play of turtling into a massive tech army. And I believe Site Delta, if you just look at it, just doesn't really lend itself to that same benefit. And I think that's shown in the case that we already have a second Immortal getting thrown out by Classic after the... Oh, never mind. Gemini, stop talking. You're stupid. You don't know anything. Classic's just going to do it anyway. Gets another Fleet Beacon, gets another Stargate. He's going to do it again. I don't really know if this is the map to do this on. I feel like it's much harder to actually defend these 4 bases here. We have this big open area to defend, having to walk between this area and this area. Both of these pathways are very easy to just parade push as a Terran player, especially once you start breaking these rocks down. It's just so easy to reinforce the position that I just don't really think that you can actually set yourself up for a decent late game situation as the Protoss player. It's going to be very difficult here for him to actually defend this position. We have so many tanks coming out at this point. The carrier transition is not here yet, so we're not going to be able to dislodge those tanks in the same way as we were able to before. The fact that we also were not just in control of the map, we didn't have the high ground position like on Alcyone outside of the third base. It makes this so difficult. All these tank shots getting on top of the army before the engagement even happens. Finally, Classic pulling the trigger. There's the double interference matrix. Triple all over all of the Colossi. Oh, baby, it's a triple. Marines and Marauders running completely unharmed with those Colossi disabled at this moment. And a very nice start to the fight by Maru here, as the Vikings even able to get on top of everything now, since they were completely uncontested with the Phoenix dying initially in that fight. And now Classic completely thrusted away from his third base location, forced to try and walk back up his own ramp to try and deal with it. The parade push coming through, and Maru finds his mark in game number 2 as well. Very nicely played. Yet again, calling back to the point I was making when it comes to how the map is laid out, very easy to do that push into that position. The lack of high ground makes it very difficult to actually set yourself up for a later game situation. So nicely done by Maru. Good early game as well comparatively to the first game. Very nicely done. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys like this kind of content, make sure you guys like and subscribe. If you let me know to do some more of these pro game casts, I will be gladly doing them. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Enjoy, and I'll see you guys later.